Let's go back to Rahema Ellis, because I know you have some more information about what's happening in the courtroom right now. Rahema.
Absolutely. The jurors they've told the jurors they should come back into the courtroom. The judge has also addressed those in the courtroom, telling them that they should maintain decorum when this verdict is read. We have the verdict, we're told, on all 5 counts now. Combs is seated. His head is down. The defense team is standing right now. The word in this that we're getting from our producers is that the tension is palpable inside that courtroom. Again, the defense is standing. The jury is coming in. You can only imagine the kind of tension. Again, Combs is seated. His head is down. Everyone is quiet. Everyone is standing when the jurors came in. The judge was had asked the deputy to hand him a note, and again, asking everyone to maintain order when the verdict is read. We're just moments away, just seconds away from finding out what the outcome is on this federal trial against Sean Diddy Combs. After some 34 witnesses, more than 7 weeks of testimony in this case, we're now about to find out what the fate is for 55-year-old Sean Diddy Combs, a man who was born in New York, raised in Mount Vernon, and built a hip-hop empire, if you will, from humble beginnings. And now he's standing, waiting to find out what his fate is by 8 men and 4 women, the jurors, who have been charged with to decide his fate on these 5 counts, federal counts, that we've been talking about, including the racketeering and the sex trafficking. Again, the last note we're seeing right now is that the jury is coming in.
Yeah, Rahema, we're just waiting.
Anna,
exactly. We're waiting for our reporters inside the courtroom to fill out this jury sheet as the verdict is read. And again, the jury's there. So as soon as we have the verdict, we will report that out right now. In the meantime, Christy, as we await the answer to all of our questions, which is he guilty or not guilty? We should note that there are 5 counts. Talk to us about his potential sentence involving these crimes.
So there are 2 of the 5 counts that are for sex trafficking, one for sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura, the other for sex trafficking of Jane Doe. Each of those counts carries a mandatory minimum, meaning the judge cannot go lower than 15 years in prison.
Christy, I'm gonna interrupt you. Forgive me. We have the first verdict on count 1. Racketeering conspiracy. How do you find the defendant not guilty? And so now they'll move on to count 2. Count 2, how do you find the defendant not guilty? That is the sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura. On count 3, which is Mann Act transportation involving Cassie Ventura, guilty. Count 4, sex trafficking of Jane, not guilty. Count 5, Mann Act transportation of Jane, guilty. So a mixed verdict here. Not guilty on 3 of the charges, guilty on 2 of the charges. Lisa, your reaction?
Well, this might explain the sort of confusion that we had yesterday. And I want to go back to what a racketeering conspiracy is about and why, having found 2 instances of transportation with an intent to commit prostitution, this is a jury that still didn't find Sean Combs guilty of a racketeering conspiracy because, as you and I were just discussing, 2 acts of transportation for purposes of prostitution would qualify as the 2 predicate racketeering acts. But of course, a RICO charge requires 2 other things. It requires that the jury find an existence of a conspiracy, and it requires also that they find that there is an enterprise formed for the purposes of carrying out unlawful acts. And that may be where the hangup is, because the charges of transporting both Cassie Ventura and Jane Doe for purposes of prostitution, they were against Sean Combs alone. They were not framed as conspiracy charges. The jurors here saying they find Sean Combs guilty of it, but they may not have bought the fact that, for example, to the extent that people in his business life, people who were employees of Combs Enterprises, which even the prosecution concedes is also a legitimate business, they may not have accepted that Sean Combs was simultaneously running a criminal enterprise largely fueled by people who were legitimate employees of his other businesses, including his chief of staff, his heads of security, multiple personal assistants. According to the prosecution's theory of the case and testimony that they obtained, all of those people were intimately involved in facilitating Sean Combs's 2 decades-long pattern of sex trafficking and abuse of these women. Again, based on this verdict, you may have a jury that just didn't buy that part. They may have thought Sean Combs did this alone, but he wasn't responsible for sex trafficking his ex-girlfriends. At worst, he transported them different places, both within the United States and outside the United States, for the purposes of engaging in commercial sex acts with escorts whom he procured. Or that the girlfriends or other people in his life procured for him. That was part and parcel, Anna, of the sort of freak-off pattern that prosecutors laid forth before this jury.
And so I want to bring in former Manhattan District Attorney Catherine Christian now. So we have 3 not guilty verdicts on the most serious crimes, the racketeering conspiracy, the sex trafficking crimes involving Cassie Ventura, as well as the woman who went by Jane, but guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. What's your reaction to this verdict? What do you make of it?
Well, the defense is breathing a sigh of relief. Yes, there are 2 guilty counts on the Mann Act charges, but as Christy said earlier, he's no longer facing a mandatory minimum. He's been acquitted on the highest counts, the RICO counts, the sex trafficking counts. What I think the juries are allowed to speak publicly about their verdict. But what happens here when you have sex trafficking for Miss Ventura and then the sex trafficking for Jane Doe, the jury clearly did not believe that the government proved beyond a reasonable doubt that these 2 women were sex trafficked by force or by fraud or coercion. For Ms. Ventura, it's a very hard lift to explain to a jury why someone would stay for years who was a victim of intimate partner violence. Clearly, they've decided that she was not a victim of sex trafficking. The text messages where she indicated that she wanted to, engage in it, they may just have not believed that she wasn't a willing participant. That's what these 2 not guilty counts on the sex trafficking say to me.
Christy, you spent a lot of time in that courtroom listening to witness testimony. Again, there were 34 witnesses, all called by the prosecution. The defense chose to call 0 witnesses. Are you surprised by this outcome?
Yes, I really am. To not find that there was sex trafficking, in particular of Cassie Ventura, when there is a video. It's not a heavy lift. There is a video that we've all seen where she is trying to leave one of these freak-offs. He is then beating her and dragging her by the hair to bring her back. There is an escort in the room. It's not all you need is that one incident. You can have all the text messages in the world where she's saying she consented to other acts, but that one incident alone would have been sufficient for this jury to convict. So essentially, the jury must not have believed her. And at that point, you're not believing your own eyes. So this is, as far as verdicts go, this is a real backlash, I think, to the Me Too movement, to believing women when they are not just telling you with their words, but when they are backed up by video, by other witnesses, by the escorts in the room, by their family members. I mean, there's a reason he was extorting Cassie Ventura's mother. I mean, her friends, all the people who witnessed the violence and said they were scared of him. And so they were so scared they didn't want to call the police and they didn't want to leave areas he was in. All of his personal assistants who were terrified by this man's reign of terror, having sat there in court for all of Cassie's testimony and then sitting there for all of these other witnesses who corroborated what she said. It is, I think, a stunning verdict to come back and find him not guilty of the sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura. So I really think that anyone who says, oh, the Me Too movement, things have changed, not quite.
Lisa, what's your take on the message this verdict sent?
I really agree with Christy on this, because had they found Sean Combs guilty of sex trafficking, I said yesterday that this case could be potentially game-changing, because it was asking the jurors to accept that you could be in a relationship with somebody that in some respects looked consensual and yet was still not only exploitative but coercive, involved force as a means to your own sexual gratification. And particularly in the rebuttal argument, which I have to commend Christy for pointing out to me how exemplary it was, Maureen Comey, who was the lead prosecutor, emphasized to the jury one of the things Christy just said. They only needed to find one incident, even if they thought that at other times in the relationship that she consensually engaged in the freak-offs, that, for example, at the beginning of their relationship, she might have done so to hold on to him, to maintain his happiness. It is clear that by the end, both of those women, Cassie Ventura and Jane Doe, were engaging in the freak-offs and even soliciting some of the escorts themselves because it was necessary to keep a roof over their heads and also intrinsic to their own physical safety. And so the prosecutors invited the jurors to not separate the violence from the sex, but to see it as part and parcel of the same thing, saying he didn't beat her up in the hallway of the Intercontinental because they were having a dispute about his phone, which was the defense's theory. No, he beat her up in the hallway of the Continental because there was still an escort waiting in their room, and he was not done with the freak-off. That's why he comes outside in the towel in the infamous video that we've all seen.